Hello everyone, I am Selenium Tutor. Welcome to Intellipaat Selenium training demo. This demo is meant to give you an overview of what will be covered in the actual Selenium training session. Now let us try to understand few definitions. The first important word is testing. What does it mean by testing and why do we need testing? Any web application is meant to have a functionality and expected behavior. It should be behaving in a particular way. Any deviation from this behavior is what we call as a defect, an error, a failure, and finally a bug. There are minor differences between these terms which we will be defining in a detailed way through the course. Let us take google.com as an example. Let us take any browser and enter www.google.com. Now I can see a search field where I can enter my search criteria. Let us give some string Intellipaat and hit enter or click on the Google search button. Now a couple of results are filtered to me, and we need to ensure that there is a string Intellipaat in almost all the hyperlinks that are filtered, which basically means our search is successful. Now we have performed a search manually successfully. If we need to classify testing, there are two types. One is manual testing, which we have performed just now through the Google website. Second one is automation testing, which we will be defining shortly. Let us define what is automation testing. Just now we have seen that the basic search functionality is working fine on google.com. But how can we make sure that the same flow is working fine with different conditions for different user login sessions? How can we make sure that it is working fine for different users? How can I make sure that it is working fine with different regions? Some of the users are located in US, some are located in UK, and some in Asia, etc. How can we make sure that the same flow is working for different browsers like Firefox, Chrome, IE, Safari, Opera, or any other browser? How can we make sure that it is working fine for different platforms, which is Linux, Windows, Mac, or any other platform? How can we make sure that the same flow is working fine for different search keywords? We tried with Intellipaat string, correct? Finally, how can we make sure that it is working absolutely fine with n number of such trials? So we had to perform the same actions again and again manually, correct? There comes the need of automation testing, where we write some few lines of code. I select my test case and hit the run button, and I take a break, and my test cases will be executed, and I can see the consolidated report comfortably. Now let's go ahead and see why we have chosen Selenium as an automation testing tool. There are a couple of options available in the market. The first one is Selenium, QTP, Appium, Cucumber, Monkeytalk for Android testing, etc. So these are not the only automation testing tools. There are many available in the market. But when it comes to ERP or big size web application testing, these QTP and Selenium are in race. So let's try to compare these two, QTP and Selenium. QTP is mainly meant for Windows platform, but Selenium supports few platforms. In addition, it also supports Linux. This is the major difference, because a couple of the development environments are based on Linux. QTP is licensed, whereas Selenium is open source. It's free. We all know the word free. And one more difference is QTP does not support cross-browser testing, whereas Selenium supports across browser testing. This does not support. What does it mean by cross-browser testing? Suppose I develop an automation script using the Firefox and I need to play it back using the IE or Chrome. So we should not restrict our customer or client in terms of using the browser, different browsers. So we need to record the scripts using some browser and need to play back it using some other browser, so that to make sure that our functionality is fine with any browser. Finally, Qtp does not support many programming languages, whereas Selenium supports C#, PHP, Python, and finally Java, which is a very stable programming language. Now we all are here to learn Selenium automation testing using Java. Now we have defined what is testing, what does it mean by automation testing, what is Selenium automation testing, and as it supports multiple programming languages, we have chosen Java for our automation testing. Let us see four major components of Selenium automation testing. First one to start with is the Selenium IDE. It is pretty similar to a music player. We put the Selenium IDE in the recording mode and perform a couple of actions on the browser. They get recorded as it is. We can stop the recording and play back, and we can add a couple of assertions. Second component is WebDriver. This is very important artifact of the Selenium, where we spend a lot of time. Using the WebDriver object, we can execute a Selenium automation test in a standalone way. Can we do the Selenium automation testing remotely? Yes. We can do that using the Selenium RC, which stands for remote control, where we will make the Selenium server running on one host and will make our Selenium client get connected to that server, and we can successfully run our automation test script. And finally, Selenium Grid for a complex execution. Like I need to execute more than one test script simultaneously on different browsers, or I can have Selenium load balance servers where some 4 to 5 servers can serve 50 clients, so that we can have a parallel execution of our tests to reduce our effective test execution time. Let us define two more words. What is object path and what is an attribute? Object path is nothing but address of the given component. If somebody wants to meet me in person, they should know my address, they should know where exactly I am. So similarly, identifying a component on a page, for that we need an object path. What is an attribute? If someone needs to identify me in my organization, they can identify me by my name, by my employee ID, or by my designation. So these are different attributes I have. A combination of these attributes can help us to identify the given component more precisely. Now let's discuss a real-time use case. Let us open any browser and launch www.employee.com. This is an example website I am referring to. Say for example, this has a input text field called name, where we are supposed to enter the name of the employee. Then I have a drop down LOV, so where you can select my department number, which is 1 to 10. You can select any of these values. And I have a date of joining field, which is a calendar field. So you can select my date of joining by opening the calendar component. Finally, we have a
submit button, clicking which it throws a confirmation pop-up where a message is displayed saying employee number so and so is submitted successfully, and this also has a small OK button on the pop-up, clicking which the navigation will be back to employee form submission. In this example, the number employee XXX depends on the number of records that we have in the DB. If I have 100 employees already in my DB, the pop-up message would appear like employee 101 is submitted successfully. And in order to automate this flow, I may need to deal with a couple of components. The name field is a simple input text field. This is a select one choice component which has some 1 to 10 possible options. The user can only select it, he cannot type anything. And a calendar field where we can open the calendar and select our date of interest. And finally a button to click and it is expected to perform an action. An alert message or a pop-up which displays some confirmation text. And finally another OK button to be clicked. What is the time that we should wait for this pop-up message to appear after clicking the submit button? Here comes the concepts of implicit wait, explicit wait, and fluent wait. If we need to automate this flow, we need to enter a valid data in all these three fields: name, department number, and date of joining. Click on submit button and use an appropriate wait command for this pop-up message to appear. Extract this text from the pop-up message, which is employee XYZ is submitted successfully, and make sure that this number is incremented by 1 when compared to the number of records that are currently present in the database. Click on OK button and let the navigation be back to the form submission. What is the assertion that we have here? The number of records in the DB is incremented by 1. So always remember, a test does not make much sense without any assertion. So test should have launching the browser, launching the URL, performing some actions on the page, finally asserting something on the page. Now let me explain the course agenda briefly. If you are new to Java programming, in fact any other programming language, nothing to worry. We will start with programming basics, followed by warm up of your core Java skills. We will give a quick session on HTML basics. A couple of HTML tags and attributes we will cover. We will also discuss a couple of real-time scenarios, and we will try to automate at least 10 flows using the WebDriver RC. And finally, we will also discuss some of the corner cases you might be facing in real time to read the data from different sources, from any .txt file, any .properties file, any DB you need to extract the data from, or any Excel file. There can be any sources of data. We will play with a couple of sources. We will also discuss automation, best practices, naming conventions, and if there are any standards. We will see how we can handle exceptions. This is not only the Java exceptions but also include some of the Selenium specific exceptions like object not found exception, timeout exception, file not found exception, etc. And finally, by the end of the course, we can be comfortable to automate any web application using Selenium automation. We thank you for watching our demo. For detailed course curriculum and registering a slot with us, kindly contact our support team.
I'm sure you enjoyed learning from this video. Please like the video, and if you have any doubts regarding this video, please comment us in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more such informative videos. Do look out for other related videos in our playlist. For more information, visit our website now. Keep learning with Intellipaat.